Just go.
Just die.
That would be nice.
And there's the intro. Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des, a true sexual Tyrannosaurus. And as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Lynn.
There's something out there waiting for us, and it ain't no man. It's a sexual Tyrannosaurus.
And joining us again, the podcaster who doesn't have time to bleed, Pat.
Get to the chopper!
Oh, he picked a good one. Okay, this week we will be discussing the 1987 sci-fi action movie Predator, written by Jim and John Thomas and directed by John McTiernan. So it was written by Jim and John Thomas, but it was also written a bit by Shane Black. It was written a bit by John McTiernan. It was written by a lot of people. This thing went through a shitload of rewrites, and by the time it was made, Jim and John Thomas had completely just checked out. They were like, this isn't even the movie that we started writing. The movie is starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Elipidita Carolado, and Bill Duke. As always, this podcast will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. Please take a minute, like and subscribe, especially if you're listening on YouTube. It really helps the show grow, and we truly appreciate it. Now, and also leave a review if you're listening on Apple. And okay. And I would like to take a moment to welcome our new listeners in Slovakia, known for two wild and crazy guys. Okay.
Oh, Lord. Well, we just lost that listener.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, come on. The two wild and crazy guys, Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd, they're superstars in Czechoslovakia. Okay. With a box office budget of $88 million and a box office gross of $160 million, this was considered a box office smash hit. Let's do some quick opening thoughts. So for myself, I've seen this movie lots of times. Haven't sat down and watched the whole thing in years, though, and the question is, did it hold up? Let's find out. Pat, have you seen The Predator? The Predator before preparing for the podcast? That's a lot of P's.
Wow, that's a Point Pleasant Police Department.
You bet.
Piss up.
Oh, shit.
Yes, I have many times.
Okay. And Dylan.
Yes, I've seen it before.
Okay, so we've all seen The Predator. Okay. Let me give you some facts on this amazing movie. Number one.
Please do.
Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally cast as the Predator, but it was not working. The costume was all wrong, and Van Damme wanted to play this thing like a kickboxing alien with a perfect ass, and they weren't having it. It just was not working. So they stopped shooting, and the creation of the new Predator design was given to special effects artist Stan Winston. And while flying to Japan with Aliens director James Cameron, Winston was doing some concept art on the Predator, and Cameron gave him an idea for the Predator's creepy mandible mouth. Cameron had said, I've always thought of an alien with like a mandible mouth. And he wasn't really giving him the idea like to use. He was just saying it like as a matter of fact, because this guy was drawing a picture of the Predator with no mandible mouth. And rumor has it that, he got back to where he was going and was like, yeah, I'm stealing that idea. And he did. And Kevin Peter Hall, who played Harry from Harry and the Hendersons, replaced Van Damme as the Predator. Oh, man, thank God they did this. Because, I sent you guys some pictures of this Predator with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Horrifying.
And he was being a crybaby. And, he just had bad ideas. And they were just getting sick of him. And I'm so glad they went with this guy. He's super tall. It was just really, really great. It was really, really great. So I got that.
I'd I'd also heard that one of the reasons why Van Damme also didn't work was he was shorter
Yes.
than every of the he guys.
Yeah, he's only
on the
5'8".
show.
Yeah.
Right. And having the predator shorter than the prey didn't work
Well,
very well.
he
for
was
him.
bigger, but they had this big weird neck on the creature that made it look like a duck. And, Van Damme's head was like, he was peeking out through the neck of this thing. And it was just fucking goofy.
Word was that the predator mask you couldn't even see through.
Yeah.
That the actor had to rehearse the scenes with the mask off and then memorize where everything was on the set so we didn't stumble and fall like a fool.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get into this, but so a lot of the thought process behind making this, because obviously this is back in the 80s and practical effects were pretty much what you had. And they talk about Jaws now, the shark just didn't look good and wouldn't work. And they would try to not shoot it and just let your imagination kind of fill in the gaps. And they wanted to do that with this one too. And I am confused by that choice because I thought this predator, this alien, looked fucking amazing with the helmet on and looked even better with the helmet off. I thought this thing did not need to be hidden. I thought it looked its worst when it had the cloaking on. Now, I thought the cloaking looked great, but I thought the cloaking is what looked a little bit wonky, and I thought they should have used that sparingly as like a cool effect to kind of say, hey, this thing can cloak itself, and then leaned on the practical effects of the alien because it looked so fucking good. But they did the exact opposite, and it hurt the movie for me. I mean, we don't even get to see this alien until almost like the halfway point. It's a huge mistake in my
And you don't see the face until the end.
and that's a huge mistake in my opinion because I honestly I'll tell you this, I think this alien looks better than Alien from the movie Alien from James Cameron's
no,
Alien.
I disagree with that.
Oh, dude, I think it's a better looking face. I think it's so
That
fucking
fucking H.R. Geiger alien. No, I'm sorry. It's not better. It's not better.
Check out the sequel to Alien versus Predator, and you'll see a hybrid of both of them.
Right.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I put it this way. Put it this way. It's in the conversation. It looks that good. It's in the conversation.
I mean, Alien and Predator is 1A and 1B.
Yes.
But when you're talking about character design, that fucking alien with the fucking head and the mouth coming, no, you can't beat it. It's ridiculous.
But this one's
that's pretty terrifying.
This one's really great for it to be a humanoid.
Oh, yeah.
For it to be a humanoid alien, man. Whew, it's really good. The hands, the way it moves, the animalistic fucking, just everything about it. And then it pulls that mask off, and that shit looks 2024. Like, it's good. And third, Sonny Landham, who played Billy, was notoriously violent and difficult to work with, and also, from what I understand, like to drink. So yeah, I mean, for real.
Shocking.
So eventually, the insurance company for the film forced the studio to hire a full-time bodyguard to protect the cast and crew from Sonny. That's how crazy this actor was. Yeah, real badass. Apparently, there was no incidents on the set for this film, though. Dylan, what do you got?
Well, I mean, yeah, like, you're going to start shit with Arnold Schwarzenegger there. It probably was a good idea for him to just calm down. The other thing that I had heard, and so there's like 8 different stories about why Jean-Claude Van Damme got let go. And among them was that he was a fucking huge crybaby and he kept passing out in the suit. And they said, if you pass out again, you're done. And he did, and he was done. Now, whether that's actually true or not, I don't know. But I mean, let's be fair. You know that those suits were super hot, super heavy, super uncomfortable. Obviously, the guy who ended up playing the Predator couldn't even see. I mean, that's dedication to his craft to make it work.
And that suit was so heavy that the scenes where he's on that giant log that gaps the 2 cliffs, that had to be made out of concrete because the suit was so heavy they feared that it would actually break a wooden log.
Wow. But the guy was such a good sport about all of it and worked really hard that the director put him in the very last scene. He's the black helicopter pilot.
Correct.
That's him.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice kudos.
yeah,
Yeah, because he was like,
Yeah.
this dude has been a stand-up dude. He's not complained. He's just busted ass. Let's give him a face roll, where you can actually see him.
Yeah,
You know.
they had to use wires and stuff to prop up the suit when he was running and moving. It's how heavy it was, really hard to move in, but it looked fucking great. But one scene in particular when when Arnold Dutch is in the mud and the Predator kind of like, you get this real shot of him after he comes out of the water and this cloaking comes off and he kind of howls at the moon with his arms out. Like, what? Why are you hiding this? I had fucking sci-fi wood. It was unreal.
Yeah. No, that's a new kind of
It
wood.
was good.
I had heard that it was true that Van Damme did pass out a lot.
Yeah.
Whether that was one of the reasons he was fired is in question. Everybody's got their own theories. But it's funny that as hot as it was for the actors in that suit, they had issues with temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
Cold temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
They had to have heat lamps on. Even the mud on Dutch later in the movie didn't help. It only made it worse.
Yeah, he was on the border of having hypothermia, and the director gave him booze, which made it worse.
Yeah, I think I wrote it later on in the script. It was like an Austrian schnapps.
Yes. Yeah.
And he goes, I was still cold and I was drunk.
Yeah.
Jaeger tea.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And apparently, so there's a line in this movie, we're all expendables. I mean, come on. These are the expendables, like 30 years before the expendables. This is, the original expendables.
The originals.
And it was funny. So I guess every morning at like 4 before shooting, Arnold would run down and get all these guys, like, we're going to go train. And they were like, come on. He's like, let's go. And he would make these guys train to, get all swollen before their shots. And, he had one of the people that was there that was like measuring biceps and, for costume and stuff, tell the Jesse Body Ventura that he actually had a 2-inch bigger bicep than Schwarzenegger. So Schwarzenegger's like, see, it's working. All this working. All this working. And he actually, there's a clip of Jesse Ventura back in the day where they're interviewing him on the set of this. And he's like, you think he's such a badass? He's like, I got a 2-inch bigger bicep than him. He's like, yeah. And then they show Schwarzenegger being like, so he thinks. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, he lied. He told the costume people to lie to him so that he'd feel better.
I love it. I fucking love it. Jesse the Body is just, oh man, he's fucking money. All right, let's get into it. Let's give a little synopsis here. A team of commandos on a mission in a Central American jungle find themselves hunted by an extraterrestrial warrior.
Dutch and his elite commando team arrive in a Latin American country, Valverde. They meet General Phillips and a CIA agent, Dylan. Dylan tells Dutch that a high-ranking cabinet minister traveling by a helicopter nearby has gone missing in the jungle, presumably shot down by a rebel guerrilla group operating in the area. Dutch's team has been charged with going over the border and into rebel territory to rescue the man. Dutch's team are dropped into the jungle by helicopter and they hike towards the rebel camp. En route, they find the downed helicopter. Dutch's tracker Billy is able to determine that the rebels indeed took the cabinet minister away, but another group of men has also passed through, likely more American soldiers. Later, Billy senses something wrong nearby and finds the bodies of 3 men who have been flayed and hung upside down. In a pile of entrails, another of Dutch's men, Mac, finds a set of dog tags. Dutch recognizes the name on them, Jim Hopper, a Green Beret. Dylan says he knows nothing about another team. So the opening scenes are awesome. They set you up with the mission very quickly. They get you right into the mission. They don't mess around. You get a crash course in who these people are. It's trope laden, like this guy is this guy and that guy is this guy. It's fine. I don't care. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the Predator, right? And then you get these kills. So disturbing, super visceral. They've had their skin flayed off. It's disgusting. There's a pile of entrails on the ground. There's something very, very wrong here. And it's not just, rebels before they even make it to the rebel camp. And also, I never realized that meme with the 2 arms, the big, strong arms clasping is from this movie. I don't know how I missed it, but I'm watching it. I'm like, that's the fucking meme I see all the time.
Yeah.
So this is where it came from.
Oh man, it's so funny because, as different people worked on this movie. at different times during the filming. So the beginning of this really feels, like an A-Team episode. I mean, it just does. It feels like a made-for-TV action thing from the 80s. It's not the same movie we're going to be watching from like the halfway point on. Like it completely changes. We get this Dylan, you son of a bitch, from fucking Schwarzenegger, and it's fucking fun. But I want to ask you guys. So actually the first scene of the movie, we're going to get the spaceship dropping the Predator off in a pod. So the ship flies up to Earth, drops him off. And this is super similar to the intro of The Thing with Kurt Russell.
Oh, right.
And, this is one of those, like, those bones that people pick. You either love it or you hate it. A lot of people don't like it. For me, I feel like just like in just like in The Thing, you got to have it. I love it because this movie starts to feel a lot like Commando to me at times, where it's an action war movie. And it's a little light on the sci-fi, especially when they fucking want to hide this alien from me for like almost the whole movie. So I'm just watching this war action Commando movie, and I'm not even sure what they're fighting. And they're giving me little like smudgy visions of this alien. So for me, it adds a little more sci-fi to the movie. And at least it tells me you're going to get an alien. So just hold tight. You're going to get your alien. So Pat, did you like them tipping the hat with this opening shot?
Yeah, the opening scene was really good. I've seen it because I've seen all of the Predator movies as well as the Alien versus Predator movies.
Right.
And that particular scene is very welcome and visual in almost every one of these movies.
Right.
In Alien versus Predator, when it takes place in the South Pole, they look like large cylinder canisters that are fired out of the ship.
Right.
And then three like fins deploy as it enters the atmosphere, and they show the impact on the ground and the thought of something surviving that landing. It's got to be Alien because it's a violent landing.
Right.
But it's always been good.
Yeah. You know what else I really liked about it too was, I mean, obviously people are like, well, you're giving it away. It's like, come on, if you're going to see fucking Predator, you're getting an alien movie. So they're not doing that. And then also it really gives me the idea that this is like almost like a shuttle to the planet. So like more than likely they're dropping predators off in different locations in the galaxy to hunt different formable prey, and man, they say, is one of the most dangerous animals in the universe. So yeah, sure. It's great. He's going hunting, and it makes me believe in this, in this universe of Predator that, like Anna says later in the movie, this happens in the hottest years. So these are hunting trips, and they're catching lifts to their different locations to hunt. And I thought it had to be in the movie. In this team assembly of actors, oh man, pure testosterone, all the best of the best at the time. Like this is what the Expendables wishes it was. Like the Expendables is like all these guys but geriatric. Like it's like, hey, just clever, we're all still big and strong. It's like, yeah, but this version of the Expendables whoops the new version's ass up and down every day. And I fucking loved it. I love seeing these guys in their primes. Jesse Ventura, unbelievable. He said, as actually being a member of the Demolition Underwater Team 12, he didn't feel like he would feel confident going into war with this cast of actors. He's like, but I had a lot of fun doing a movie with them. But he's like, Jesse.
They weren't war ready.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura is a real badass. I mean, so he did serve.
Ex-SEAL.
No, yeah, well, he served for a long time, but he never actually saw combat, from what I understand. He was more on this this underwater team. So I mean, he is a full-on badass. But I don't think he had any like action.
And it was Vietnam though,
yes,
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Vietnam was no party.
Not for anybody. No.
So I'm
I'm definitely not trying to take away from what he did during his tours of duty, but he was more of a underwater demolition specialist, which is fucking badass.
Yeah, he was less of a tier 1 operator.
Correct. Yeah, he wasn't out in the field with a machine gun. He was doing like other stuff. And finally, Billy Bear. I fucking love this actor. I love this guy. Now I know why, because this is who he really is. This is why it felt like he was playing Billy Bear from 48 Hours, because he's just playing himself, a maniac. Pat, did you love that? Did you feel like the same character?
Sonny Landham is anything I've ever seen him in, he's nothing but a badass.
Yeah.
And usually a psychotic badass.
Correct.
I mean, Billy Bear was fucking nuts.
Yeah. Dude, when he pulls that big blade out on the fucking Predator, I think it's the same knife he pulled on Reggie Hammond. Oh shit, Pat, what do you got on these opening scenes?
Everything about it's funny when Dutch first sees Dylan. He doesn't see him, he hears him.
Yeah.
And the very first thing you think, because they set it up so well, he does a slow turn. There's no smile on his face. And the very first, even if you've seen it already, the very first thing you think is, oh, this is going to be a problem.
Right.
These two are not going to like each other. And then he yells out, Dylan! And
you son of a
they're
bitch.
friends. The two beefcake arms locked in arm wrestling. You can't beat that. That is the claim of where this movie is going.
Right.
It is a testosterone-driven race.
I fucking love
it. It was, and all the characters. Carl Weathers with Schwarzenegger, they're both like the ultimate build. This was like, I was trying to remember if this was before or after Terminator, because he looks so young in this movie. And it was after. Terminator was prior to this one. And I think Commando was too.
Cool.
But you could not go wrong with the cast.
No.
None of them.
No.
Yeah, one thing that we didn't mention when we were talking about the stuff at the top, the notes and stuff, was you had told me that they wrote this movie because Rocky had fought everybody, and they said he's going to have to fight an alien next.
Yep.
And they tried to get Sly, and Sly didn't want to do this movie. He was like, that's stupid, I'm not doing it. And they got Arnold instead.
Well, it's funny because it was actually just a Hollywood joke. Somebody had said it. The writers of Rocky IV actually were joking and said, we're going to have to fucking have Rocky go up against an alien next. There's no one left on Earth to fight. And it was kind of going around Hollywood, and these two writers that heard the joke said, let's do it. And let's fucking write it, and lo and behold, that's what we got. So I think it was the Thompson brothers that heard it and decided that they were going to try to make this script. So Delaney, go ahead. Keep it going.
All right. The team arrives at the rebel camp without being detected. Dutch and his team destroy the camp in an all-out assault and kill all the rebels. There are no hostages. However, Dutch finds a lone, terrified girl named Anna. Dutch realizes they've been set up and confronts Dylan. Dylan confirms that Dutch and his team were merely pawns to destroy the camp and its men. The team heads to the chopper pickup point, taking Anna with them at Dylan's insistence. However, they're being tracked by an unseen enemy that sees their body heat signatures. Anna tries to escape the group, and Hawkins gives chase. When he catches her, a distorted human-like figure rushes out of the jungle and kills Hawkins. The woman is left behind terrified and covered in his blood. Dutch's Spanish crew member, Pancho, asks Anna what happened. All she can say is that the jungle came alive and took him. So I really appreciate that they did not waste our time with everyone being like, she killed Hawkins, because no, it was stupid. I'm so glad they didn't go there. It would have been very easy to play that misdirect angle. And I'm glad they didn't even bother. They knew something else was going on.
Yeah. So I love how when Dutch and Dylan are talking in the beginning, he's questioning, hey, why weren't you there on this mission? We don't do that. We only do, rescue and missions. We don't do assassinations. We don't really believe in killing people. Basically, all the same rules the A-team has. And then it's like two scenes later, they get into this camp in the fucking jungle and they cut this thing to pieces. They kill every man, woman, child, pig, hostage, bug, mosquito,
Scorpion.
It doesn't matter. They are just on a killing spree, bloodthirsty animals. And I was fucking laughing out loud. And I did like this line that Anna gives. And I thought that I hate to say this movie didn't need this character. And it wasn't that I didn't want, like, I had a problem with a woman on the mission. I mean, I would have been fine with them having a woman operative with them. Would have been great. But this character
like a Velasquez
from
yes. Aliens.
But this character didn't work for me because all she did was tell these guys, all right, listen, this happens. It's, it could be magic. It could be a devil. But, during the hot seasons, these things are happening. Mysterious, deadly things are happening in the jungle. And it's, it's cool. It's like she's telling you this happens. Like, this isn't the Predator aliens' first trip to Earth to hunt man, right? Mm-hmm. But then she has nothing else to do in this movie. So my question is, why would they even take her along? These are basically mercenaries getting paid to complete a mission. Mission has failed. They've now found out they've been basically lied to. The hostages are all dead. The hostages were a Green Beret team. It's like there's no reason to take this woman with them. She's going to slow them down.
I've got one.
Dylan says that he's taking her because she knows something.
She doesn't know shit. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
I think she was there for one reason and one reason only, to set up the scene where Dutch tells her not to pick up the weapon, that she wasn't killed because she was unarmed.
Right.
I think that would be the only valid reason keep her in this story.
But you could have any one of the team members get fucking trip and roll down a hill and lose his fucking machine gun and be laying there, and then the Predator doesn't kill him at that moment. And they're like, oh, it's because he dropped this gun. You don't need this character. If you're going to bring this character along, you have to write it into the plot why they're doing it. Like, maybe she's a guide. Maybe she knows the jungle. They got turned around and she can get them to the chopper. There's no reason to have her there. Their scout Billy gets killed early in the movie. And then it's like, shit, we're lost in the jungle. We've lost our scout. Grab her. She's gonna fucking, but they didn't.
Yeah, like if Billy died in the rebel camp thing.
Yeah.
Or even early, like when Jesse, the Body Ventura, gets killed.
Yes.
You have him killed then.
Yep.
Instead. And they're like, oh, that girl, or, initially, Dutch could be saying, leave her. She's just going to hold us up, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And then, the scout gets killed. Now he says, forget leaving her. Now we got to take her.
Yes. And that's all I'm saying.
I can see that. I can see
something.
that. That would work.
And that's all I'm saying. They just needed the character. They needed
just a little
more
weak.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weak.
This is probably my favorite part of the movie. The way they find the rebels. They're crawling down the hill. They're sneaking over here, this and there. It's very tier 1 SEAL operator type crap that's going on. And it's entertaining for me to watch. Dutch is sending them this, 2 guys this way, 2 guys this way. I think his idea of using the truck as a diversion, was clever.
It's a bomb, essentially.
Yeah, he puts a pack bomb in the back of the truck, and you see him lift it off the logs, holding it in the air. And what's funny is I noticed something with that scene that made me look twice. When the wheel is spinning and using the truck to produce electricity for the generator by spinning the rim, that's the word I was looking for. Mm-hmm. Did you notice after it hits the ground and starts rolling towards the camp, they put a camera down at a POV. The rim now has something on it that resembles a tank track because it's now got slots of wood that are around the entire rim.
Interesting.
I think that might have been because that rim wasn't going to get any traction.
Right.
And it needed to move. And without having some kind of traction, I picked up on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, geez, I never noticed that before. And then it made sense why you see it, because
Yeah.
why it was necessary.
They had to put like fucking snow chains on it or something. Pat, it's funny.
Yeah.
I figured you'd like the beginning of this movie. For me, when I put this on, like I said, I hadn't seen it in a while. I was almost like, ruh-roh, this is not going to be good. Like, it just really felt so cheeseball. Like, 1 hour Thursday night, Magnum PI, 1 hour Thursday night, A-Team, MacGyver, really felt MacGyver. Like, and that's fine. I like these 80s sitcom shows, but I wasn't up for it for a 2-hour movie. I was like, no. But it really only lasted until after that scene, basically, where they shoot the camp up. And then they get into the jungle and they start, going on their mission. And suddenly the whole mood, the visual, the way it's shot, just everything, even the way the dialogue is being presented is just so much better. It finally falls into like an Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie and no longer feels like an episode of the A-Team. So I was really happy that happened.
Well, they went from the hunters to the hunted,
right?
And that changed the entire demeanor of every character there.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you notice, because this happens a few times in the movie, and I had to watch like a thing on Predator because I didn't catch it watching it. But so the noise that the Predator makes, so you hear that when they see the skin bodies hanging from the trees. You hear that, the hunting noise in the back, but you don't know what it is yet.
You don't know what it is yet.
But you know it doesn't sound like a jungle animal. So it's really cool when I watch this thing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so great. And those bodies and all the practical effects on the gore was really well done and shocking. And then the Predator records people talking and laughing. Right. And he does this and he's using it almost like a duck decoy, like you would use to get a duck to come bait.
Yeah, exactly.
And right before Billy says, I think we're being tracked by something, like there's something out there. You hear him using Billy's own voice, and Billy hears it out of the corner of his ear and says, uh-oh, something's going on. So he uses the Predator uses this effect a few times in the movie that you kind of subliminally get, and you don't recognize it unless somebody says, check this out. And then finally you get hit in the face with it at the end of the movie, which is fucking great. So
yeah,
this is something that they've made a staple with the Predator character. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the second one very much. I wasn't impressed with it, so it didn't leave much of an impression.
No, Murtaugh, but come on.
Yeah, but in the second sequel, Predators, plural, they use the exact same setup, using the mimicked voice as bait to lure in teammates to try and take them out as well.
Right.
It's part of their character now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Is that the one with Adrian Brody, or was
that?
Okay.
Yes,
I had a hard time believing him as an action hero. No offense to Adrian Brody, but he's, a skinny British guy.
Yeah, see, I don't remember him in many movies, probably because I just don't watch
the kind of movie he's in.
They destroyed this franchise after this movie. They had such a great fucking alien, and they could have done so much with it. And they just fucking fucked the pooch, man. Like, let's take him to LA and have him fight street gangs. Like, oh God.
Oh,
no.
that was horrible. That was horrible.
And
the second sequel was far more the Predator Warrior movie because different tier 1 operators from all over the earth were brought to this planet.
Right.
And they were stalked from the word go.
Yep.
You saw a lot more of the alien itself without the camouflage. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it very much.
Cool.
The team's largest man, Blaine, is hit twice by laser-like blasts of energy that blow out his chest. He falls dead immediately, and his friend Mac rushes to him. Mac sees a humanoid-like distortion that flashes green eyes. Mac opens fire with Blaine's minigun, firing thousands of rounds into the jungle. The rest of the team rushes to the spot and also open fire. After checking the area in front of them, Pancho tells Dutch that they didn't hit anything that's alive. A close inspection of Blaine's wounds show no signs of shrapnel or gunpowder burns. When asked what he saw, a terrified Mac is unable to identify the enemy. Only Anna notices the green glowing fluid on a large leaf. In another part of the jungle, the distorted humanoid sits down on a tree branch. The distortion turns out to be a high-tech camouflaging device that can bend light, creating the illusion of invisibility. The enemy has been wounded in the thigh, dripping the same sort of fluid that Anna found. It's the creature's blood. So this green blood is the inside of a broken glow stick. So you have to love
So
how
cool.
simple that is.
So
It
cool.
was so simple and absolutely perfect.
It just works perfectly. Oh, I was just going to say the invisibility was far more technical. This was pre-CGI. They had to do double shots, a bright red suit, multiple, like it was hard to do. Like I honestly, I read a thing on how they did it and I was confused. So,
I read about it too.
I watched a video
of
I watched a video of the guy running around in the red suit. It was the opposite color of the jungle in the sky, and it's really weird, man.
Yeah, they picked red because it was the furthest from the blue and green spectrum.
Correct.
And they had to record it with the red suit. Then they'd record the same scene, and they would use an effect to remove the red from the first image. So now it doesn't show up. It just shows a distortion that they were able to build on. And
very clever.
Oh, well, I remember when this movie first came out, that was the first time you'd seen anything even remotely close to it, which made this movie rocket through the sky, through the charts.
Yep.
Something you'd never seen. It was original and unique, which is what I think made this movie one of the best movies in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, again, that I wish that they had done it in the opposite. First of all, they say it was painstakingly slow to do this effect, like really slow. Like they were measuring things and it took a long time to do these shots. I think if they had sprinkled them in more, used it in the beginning the way they did, and then maybe just used it here and there when the Predator was like sneaking up on these guys, it would have been so much more effective. And it would have made shooting the movie easier because they could have just given us more Predator running through the jungle. And I was down for it. 100%.
Yeah. Once you've seen the effect, you don't need to see it 15 times.
Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah.
Right. You see it. You're like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now let's see what the bugger really looks like.
It's really fun. Like where Billy will whisper to Dutch, like, look up there. Don't move your head. Just look up there to the right. And then, we all see the blurry figure together in the jungle. And it's like, oh, that's so fucking cool. I didn't even notice it there. But then when they're just beating me over the head with this thing, I didn't appreciate it. They shouldn't have been hiding this Predator. They just shouldn't have.
Right.
With the effect they used, one thing that I did notice is there was a couple of scenes. There was one scene in particular where it was standing still.
Yeah.
It wasn't moving at all. You could see the distortion, but the camera was panning from left to right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that one vertical distortion. And the camera doesn't hesitate. It just keeps on panning to the right. And you're like, wait a minute. That was him. That was him right there.
Yes.
I have to think that when you saw this the first time, because we know now. We know what the Predator looks like. We know what the story is.
Right.
The first time we saw this, that must have been terrifying to us. Like, I don't remember being terrified, but can you imagine being out in the middle of the fucking jungle and you can kind of see there's something there, but you kind of can't? And
yeah.
It's fucking scary.
Yeah.
That totally screws your head up.
They do a lot of the same trick too in some of the dark scenes, which I didn't like this either, because this Predator, as good as it looked in the light of the jungle, it looked even better in these night scenes when he's going one-on-one with Dutch, because this costume just looked great under the moonlight in the jungle. And they did a lot of time showing us infrared shots and stuff. And it was just like, if anything, cut it with more Predator and cut it with more Dutch, because Dutch looked great too. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a specimen. He almost looked like a fucking alien himself. He was so jacked. He did. He was so jacked. We're going to get to that. But
from the planet Jacked?
He was, dude, he was ridiculously large in this movie. Like, I believed if he got his hands on the Predator, he could probably wrestle this thing to the ground. I mean, he was like Conan. Like, he was that big. Like, Conan the Barbarian is almost a superhero, and so is Dutch. Like, it was He's the only actor on the planet that made this work. So first thing they did here when they were trying to figure out how they were going to make this blurry figure like work in the trees and move. So they put a monkey in the red suit and they let it go and they wanted to jump up in the trees. They were hoping this thing would run around up in the trees and give this really like animalistic movement. But what would happen is every time the monkey would just run up into the tree and hide. So they were like, this isn't going to work. So they
no, it's not.
yeah, they scrapped that idea.
They should have got Karate Monkey.
Right? From fucking Grandma's Boy.
Grandma's Boy.
They did.
Karate Monkey would have been great in that jungle, man.
It was called Van Damme and he got fired. So I found this to be interesting. So in the scene where the squad is firing into the jungle all at once, it's not CGI or visual effect like the Predator's cloak. It was special effects department that rigged it up. It's a combination of various size explosives that blow up on the push of a button and pre-cut foliage that was pulled over with fishing wire. Apparently, it took 3 months before filming began for the crew to wire up that section of jungle with all the various bits for the scene. And apparently, if a squad really fired into a dense jungle the way they did with the weapons that they had, you wouldn't even see anything. It would do nothing to the jungle. The bullets would just fly through the jungle, and it would hardly do anything. I had
no idea.
Yeah, would hardly do anything at all. So
yeah, they're moving so fast. They're going through things.
Yeah, they're whipping leaves.
The only thing that came close to believe that it could do what it did to the jungle was the minigun.
Yeah.
Because that thing's just spitting out rounds so fast. You swing left or right, you just basically like swinging a stick.
They said it would do
everything down.
They said it would do nothing to a jungle. You would barely even notice it. So yeah, big deal there.
Hooray for Hollywood.
Yeah.
They also had a name for that minigun. It was Old Painless.
Yeah. And it's actually the same gun Arnold Schwarzenegger used in, I can't remember what movie it was from, but he's in a building and he's surrounded by police and he's firing that. It's the exact same prop gun that they used in that movie.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't even say it because I don't have the fact. I don't know what movie.
T2.
Yeah. T2.
That's it.
Yep.
It took me a second. But as you're telling me the scene, I'm trying to think of Schwarzenegger movies surrounded by cops.
Yep.
I'm like,
Makes sense.
Just took a couple of seconds to figure it.
T2 is one we have to do too.
Yeah.
I love T2.
Let's think about that.
Maybe we should do that one since we're coming off Brain Scan. So it'll be a Edward Furlong. Fucking link them up. 2 degrees of Edward Furlong.
We'll put that at the top of the list.
Dutch's team is edgy through the night. I can't even believe that they did the night in the jungle, but okay. They panic at every little sound or hint of movement. They had left Blaine laying on the ground covered in camp, and when there's a distraction of Mac attacking a wild boar, suddenly the body is gone. Dutch determines that their unseen enemy is not only killing them one by one, but also methodically hunting them. He's not just doing it for sport. Mm-hmm. The team constructs a trap from jungle vines, which forms a net and an elaborate system of tripwires. Anna talks of a legendary demon that had stalked her village in times of extremely hot weather. She says that men were found skinned and missing body parts. Dutch and Dylan think that the trap won't work without live bait, so Dutch carefully walks out into the clearing among the tripwires. As he turns around, the trap goes off and something is tangled in the net. Laser blasts shoot from the net, hitting the trap's anchoring tree trunk, which detaches and swings into Pancho, hitting him square in the chest and severely injuring him. Dylan sees the distortion of the stalker's camouflage as it flees into the jungle. Mac instantly takes off after the creature, seeking revenge for his fallen friend. Dutch, Pancho, Billy, and Anna all leave to make it to the chopper, while Dylan runs after Mac. And I honestly don't understand why Dylan wanted to go after Mac, but okay. At this point, Dutch says to Anna, when she reaches for a discarded gun, "Don't. It didn't attack you because you weren't armed. There was no sport in it." So I said to Des, if he's figured that out, why doesn't everyone just put their fucking guns down and walk out of the jungle?
Okay.
Movie over, but
yeah, that's probably one reason. And I think the other reason might be they're already combatants.
True. And he did watch them kill all those people in the jungle.
Exactly. So whether they were armed or not, they probably still would have been prey. She never carried a weapon from the moment they got into the village to when they ran off to meet the chopper.
What did she attack Dutch with? Didn't she have something in her hands?
She pointed a sidearm. No, she pointed a gun at him because they did a POV from her shoulder, and he heard her. He turned around, whacked her with the butt of his rifle. She's unconscious. She's now unarmed.
Right.
But
so
the predator
never saw her with a gun.
Never sees her with a weapon, so she's not considered. So okay, here comes Des. I can see
predator
the face.
We can't just talk about this?
No, the predator didn't attack her because she's a fucking woman. That's why.
Oh, how dare you.
Good God.
No, he didn't. He's not going to attack a woman. The predator knows he's a hunter. He's not out looking to attack 100-pound, an 85-pound woman. That's not what he's looking to do.
If she had a weapon and she was shooting at him,
maybe
she'd be dead.
Yeah, maybe then.
But that's the point. That's the point, though. She doesn't have a weapon. She's not a target.
He didn't.
Yeah, if Arnold Schwarzenegger was sitting in the middle of the jungle on a mat meditating, is he still going to attack him?
Yes. He did.
He's already fought him once.
He did. He attacked him. They went to did you watch the movie? They had a fucking slap fight. They had a slap fight in the fucking swamp. Predator put down.
You know what I'm talking about? If you just the beginning of the movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger's just sitting in the middle of the jungle meditating.
Dude, listen.
Does he attack Arnold Schwarzenegger?
The fucking he's there to hunt. Nobody, like Jim Morrison said, no one's getting out of here alive. That fucking thing is killing everybody except the woman, because it has morals. It's looking to hunt, but it's not.
It does?
Yes. It's not. You just said it does. It doesn't shoot a man in the back. Doesn't shoot a man without a gun. So yes, he has rules to engage.
There's an honor code.
There is an honor code.
Warriors, and an honor code.
Yes, and it starts with you don't kill women. Like this would go back to even medieval times. Like these knights weren't out like looking for women to fucking do battle with. Nothing against women, but this predator is not interested in that. So she's walking out of the jungle no matter what. The worst thing. So
there's multiple reasons why the predator didn't take out Anna.
Yeah.
Let's just run with that and move on before he gets into a tyrant.
Before? Okay.
No.
So again, let's go back to the creature and the design of this costume and its different weapons that it has. They're so good. And if you ever see these comic books they did for Predator, like they look as good in these comic art as they do in this fucking movie. He's got the double fucking curved blades on his fist. And then he's got this little laser fucking deal on his shoulder. Dude, I remember seeing this as a kid and being like, that is fucking amazing. But I think the most important thing about the Predator in this movie is that they made him vulnerable. We see him bleed. We see him have missteps in his strategic moves where he makes mistakes to put him in, compromising positions. And this is so important for the end of this movie, for this final act to work with Arnold Schwarzenegger. If we go into this final act and this thing hasn't made a mistake or bled yet, what's the point? But I've seen that this thing is hurt now, and these guys have got to it. And now he's going up against Dutch, the leader. And Dutch is smart, and Dutch is fucking huge, and he's strong. And I don't think that he's going to beat him, but I think he's going to get his attention, and I'm up for this battle, and I'm super excited. When they pull him down into the mud and he gets out, he's being tracked to the water and the waterfall, and you're like, how's he going to get away? And he falls in this mud and he gets up. Oh, it's so great. So yeah, Pat, what do you got?
I think the scene, though necessary for the show, the scene with the entire squad emptying weapon after weapon into the jungle after Mac freaks out. And I don't mean, everything. Even, was it Hawkins? No, Pancho with his grenade launcher. Everybody's jumping around. Pancho's lobbing grenades into the friggin' woods. Was a little overdone.
Well, wait, but we can't mention that without the contrast. So basically what they're telling us is at this moment, the Predator has the upper hand. They can't see him. They know he's out there. So they're just like desperate firing, like just shooting everything. But we're going to get this same fucking play by the Predator when they catch him in the net. And he just starts firing all his weapons at once in every direction because now he's been caught off guard and he's trying to escape this net. So I thought it was a nice contrast to see the shift, the hunter becoming the hunted and panicking.
So, and of course, in the 80s, gunplay was super popular in the movies. Yeah. So you had to have the scene where every character is emptying their weapon. And who was it? Mac. Mac's weapon runs out. He picks up Blaine's weapon. And he starts emptying that weapon too.
Yeah. Schwarzenegger, was reading the script and they were there. And he really wanted this to be a play on the Magnificent Seven, and it is. Right down to these final, credits we're going to get with everybody smiling at the camera, 80 sitcom style.
I like that.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. If you're somebody that watches a lot of war movies, especially ones from the 70s and, late 60s, 70s, late 70s into the 80s, this is a hallmark of these movies because, you get these giant ensemble casts and, people get killed early in the movie. Guy like Jesse Ventura or, and it's like a curtain call. So they did this a lot, including in the Magnificent Seven, where they get their final curtain call and you're reminded of all the actors and the characters that were in the movie. So it was a double-edged sword for me. I thought it was a little goofy, but at the same time, I understand what they were doing stylistically and I appreciated it for that reason.
And if you've never seen the remake of The Magnificent Seven with Denzel Washington.
Oh, I have. It's very good.
Then you're missing out on one of the best Westerns put out.
Yeah, if you've never seen a movie called Out of Time, you're really missing out with Denzel Washington. It's really good.
Why don't you just point at the screen and point your finger at me?
I've been trying to get Pat to watch this Denzel Washington movie called Out of Time. For the longest time,
he's been telling me so much about it. I already know who the bad guy is.
It's good.
I already know how the story goes.
No,
you don't. Okay, what's next?
Glenn.
Yeah, I love that he does the same thing to you that he does to me, where he watches a movie and he enjoys it, and then it's like he bullies other people into watching it.
The man from Toronto.
I'll never watch it. Never. Just because you bullied and bullied. It's now I'm just not going to watch it because you're a pain in the ass.
You're a loss. Okay. Let's go.
I think we can deal with it.
Okay, let's go. If you have to choose one, though, pick Out of Time.
You done?
Lynn is making a fist. Look at the fist, Pat. Okay.
Dylan finds Mac a short distance away after the Predator attempts to lure him closer using Mac's voice. Mac grabs him and pulls him into hiding, showing him the enemy camped out in a tree stand. The two agree on a plan to approach it silently and kill it. While crawling through the underbrush, Mac notices a 3-pointed laser pattern on his arm and is killed when he exposes his head to the enemy, because you're a fucking idiot. I can't figure out how that happened, but okay. Dylan finds him dead a few minutes later. Dylan is then attacked by the Predator, who fires a laser blast that severs one of his arms. Dylan tries to defend himself, but is impaled on a large double blade. Still moving towards the extraction site, the rest of the team cross a large tree trunk bridge and hear Dylan screams. Billy, sensing the presence of the enemy, throws away his rifle and faces it alone, armed only with his machete. He's quickly killed. Dutch, Anna, and Pancho stop, and Pancho is killed by a laser blast. Anna picks up a gun to shoot it, but Dutch kicks the gun away. Another blast then hits Dutch's rifle, blowing it in half. Dutch yells for Anna to get to the chopper, and he crawls away. Dutch ends up sliding down a hill that drops him off a cliff into a river. Dutch swims to the other side and is resting on the muddy bank when his pursuer splashes down behind him. Dutch, now weaponless and covered in mud, waits for the enemy to kill him. However, he surfaces and turns out to be a large humanoid alien possessing advanced weaponry, but he cannot see him. The adaptive camouflage device that concealed him from Dutch and his team appears to be malfunctioning due to the exposure from water. It spots a target in the brush and tracks it with a 3-beam laser scope and shoots at it, a small rodent with a shoulder-mounted cannon. The alien does not, however, see Dutch, whose body's heat is insulated by the mud on his skin, and the creature stalks off. So, the mud was pottery clay, and like we were talking about... Oh, did it?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I just knew it was very cold.
Yeah.
And like they thought, oh, he'll be warm under there. He wasn't. It was even colder. It cooled him down. He was freezing. He was shivering. They were giving him the Jagger tea. He was just cold and drunk. It wasn't working. Honestly, like this part, like Des has talked about it a couple times already. So good. You get the really good shots of the alien here, of the predator, what he really looks like, those dreadlocky type things he's got going on, and it's so good. I do agree with Des. I would have liked to have seen more Predator because he does look good. But I also understand that maybe they thought, people aren't going to like this very much. So that's why they held back. I'm not really sure. But Des, what do you think?
Yeah. So first of all, the shot of Carl Weathers with his arm blown off, I'd forgotten about this. It was shocking when I was a kid. And it kind of brought me right back to it. On this viewing, it was just as shocking. It was fucking killer.
That scene has been edited out on many, like for many countries. And obviously when they show it on TV, that's been edited out. You just see the shot and then you hear him screaming and them on the tree. You don't see anything else. You don't see the double blade. You don't see the arm on the ground. You don't see any of that.
It's really graphic, but it's good. And like you said, it's capped off with the Predator with this great curved mounted wrist weapon that he's going to impale Dylan with. It's a fucking great scene. And then one of my favorite scenes in the movie is Billy telling them to go, and he's going to stand back and he's going to fight this thing. And he's just crazy enough to do it. We get the scream with the knife and he cuts himself, and it's just, you can see it from the POV of the Predator. And it's just so fucking good. This guy is a beast. The only thing I didn't like was I thought this character was good enough to warrant his own kill scene, his own death scene. I would have liked to have seen him like slash this Predator, and you see the spray of green blood, and then you see the Predator just, dismantle this guy. I thought that it would have been a cheering scene when he slashed this Predator, like, yeah. And then he gets killed. You're like, no, it would have been one of those nice moments, but we didn't get it. And, I thought it was a misstep. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, his favorite quote he's ever done in any movie is "Get to the chopper." So he loves it. He said it a million times. He's been on cooking shows. He does it all the time. He really likes that one. And it's funny because back in the day when we were watching this, you see this cast of meatheads and you think, not a lot of brain power here. But, two of these guys became acting governors. You got, Jesse Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And believe it or not, the character that played Billy, he also ran for a position. He wasn't elected. I think he was running, his campaign was "Vote for me or I'll kill you" or something. But he didn't. He didn't get in. But it's interesting to see that how many of these guys ended up going into politics and government.
Yeah, honestly, I really wish they hadn't killed Jesse Ventura as quickly as they did.
It was a mistake.
I really wish they had kept him hanging around, and like, he should have been the last one to go.
Second to last, right before Schwarzenegger, 100%.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
And obviously the reason why they did it that way is because the Predator was picking off the strong, quote unquote, strongest guy. Yeah. So he was the biggest body, and they took him out first because he didn't want to deal with
either that or his bicep really was 2 inches bigger than Arnold's, and he was like, "Get him off the set, kill him now. He's making my arms look puny." Okay. Pat, did you have anything on that?
One of the things I noticed, it took me a couple times to watch this, when Mac ran off to search for the Predator, and he's going up the hill and he's taking all his gear off. He's taking off his ammo pack. He's taking off his tack vest, and he's saying, and he's reciting a line over and over and over again. And it didn't dawn on me until today that the line he's reciting is from the song in the chopper when they were being brought in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gonna have me some fun tonight.
Yep.
Over and over again, I'm like, why the fuck does he keep saying that? And then I watched it a second time, and oh my God, that's a song from the James Brown, lyrics from a James Brown song. I'm like, okay, now it makes sense.
They also had James Brown and Rocky IV with Carl Weathers. So there you go. It all ties in. Yep. Dude, that red filter they put in that chopper, in that scene, the red filter they put on that
red light.
Scene, so good. Really good. And
Dude, that's not just for that scene in that movie. That's commonly referred to as rig for red.
oh,
Is it a
explain.
stealth
Whenever
thing?
it is an actual situation. It helps reduce glare on the screens that you're monitoring,
Mhm.
and if for any reason it helps reduce light. Like say if you're on a surface vessel and you have portholes that expose to the outside,
Right,
you're less likely to see the red light than you would the white light from the
right.
fluorescence. So it's commonly referred to as rig for red. The sub that I was on, we did it constantly, and it's just you flip a switch and it changes
Everything is
from
red.
fluorescence to red bulbs.
Yeah, so you guys don't know, but I mean, you do know that Pat, served on a submarine, but you didn't know he was actually exactly like Steven Seagal in Under
Oh
Siege. He
dear
would make
God!
pancakes and then kick ass.
I did baking. I made sweet rolls,
Oh shit!
and usually I just washed my ass.
He made sweet rolls. He made sweet rolls and
Dude,
fucking.
I
Hey, you know what? Those
in my
guys on the sub
day,
have to eat.
That's
in
fucking
my
awesome. But I'm trying to
back,
set him up as a fucking badass, fucking
yeah, and
cooking and kicking ass.
we just totally shut that down because there's no fucking way I could be a badass.
Oh god.
That is
Okay.
totally impossible.
Okay.
Dutch decides to mount an offensive, choosing a strategic spot and setting a garroting trap with spikes. Dutch also builds a bow and several arrows with gunpowder from his spare grenades and fashions some spears. He also covers himself in mud to further his advantage. Meanwhile, the creature rips the spinal column and skull from Billy's corpse, cleaning it to make it a trophy.
So
We
good.
see this gross,
Oh.
but so good.
Epic scene.
Yeah, we see the skulls of several other humans among its collection. When he's ready, Dutch lights a large bonfire and sounds out a primitive yell, summoning the alien. The alien arrives and crawls over the unseen Dutch. Dutch fires one of his explosive arrows at the creature, permanently disabling its invisibility device. However, Dutch rapidly runs out of weapons. The alien captures him in a pond. After a brief examination of his human opponent, the creature removes its helmet, revealing its face. It then engages Dutch hand to hand in a battle where the alien has the advantage of strength over Dutch, and he's also far taller than him. Dutch draws the creature into the spike trap he set, yelling for it to come closer, and the creature's not dumb. He figures it out immediately. He goes around, but that's his flaw because Dutch notices he's now standing directly under the trap's counterweight. Dutch kicks away the trigger, and the counterweight plummets, crushing the alien. Dutch moves in to finish it with a large rock, but throws it away when he sees that the alien is already dying. He's not going to bother sticking a gigantic rock on his head. Dutch asks, "What the hell are you?" And the creature repeats the phrase. It opens a panel on its gauntlet and activates a timer, signaling Dutch to run. As he does, the creature laughs, imitating Billy. So I don't even think he's laughing. I think he's just using Billy's voice to mock Dutch. A small nuclear explosion goes off as Dutch leaps to cover. In a helicopter flying nearby, General Phillips and Anna see the explosion. They see Dutch in an incinerated patch of rainforest. He's recovered, looking completely exhausted. I just mentioned in my notes that this was Kevin Peter Hall piloting the helicopter, who was the actor inside the Predator outfit. I think it's really nice that he got a moment to be on film, not in a crazy outfit, because this was not an easy role. You got to know this was hard.
Oh yeah,
And,
give him some credit.
Yeah, you got to credit where credit's due. Do I believe that Dutch could kill the Predator? I'm not so sure. Des, what do you think?
I think he could. I think between what he brings to the table physically, being this freak of the nature man, he's strong enough. He's not stronger than Predator, but he's strong enough. And, he is super smart in hand-to-hand combat, in, jungle warfare. So, yeah, I think he could get the best of this Predator, and he does.
I mean, I think if you look at it this way, the Predator decides to toy with him.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is a far larger predator, far larger person. He's stronger, and even taking off his weapons, he's got the advantage, and he's toying with him, and he gets killed because he underestimates.
Yes. So when you've got
Dutch.
two apex predators going at each other, even if one is dominant, like let's say you've got, I'm just using these as examples, like a cheetah and a lion going at it, and they're both deadly and dangerous. The lion could beat the cheetah probably 100 times out of 100 times. But if he gets the cheetah wounded and turns his back on it, the cheetah will get, if he gets him, he's going to get him. And he could kill
Right.
him because they're both deadly.
Right.
So that's kind of the way I looked at it. Yeah, Predator fucking opened the window to be killed. He could have taken out Dutch, but
I mean, literally, he's got him up against
Yeah.
the thing, the tree trunk. He could just go and just that would have been the end.
He's
of the
never
movie.
had this level of resistance from prey before, and I think it excited him, and he wanted to test Dutch and see how far he could
Good
take
point.
this hunt. And I was so up for it because, like I said, no other actor in the world at that time or this time could pull this scene off and make it work. Because even when he's got him against a tree, you see how fucking thick Arnold Schwarzenegger's neck was? That hand didn't even make it around his neck. Like, he is fucking huge. He might be outweighed by that Predator by like 100 pounds, which is nothing when you're talking about a human next to this Predator. It's impressive. Arnold is impressive in this. And I remember thinking when Arnold punches the Predator in the mouth, I was like, oh, that was so cool. Because he stings him. Like, the Predator kind of does the thing where he like rubs his finger
one of the
on
mandibles
his lip.
moves like, bitch, you hurt me.
Yeah, he was like, damn, this motherfucker can punch hard. And I
then he
loved
got his
it.
ass handed to him.
Yeah, then he gets his ass handed to him. But I mean, just the fact that none of these other guys were going to be able to go toe to toe with Predator and throw shots, even though it was just one. It was great. I didn't like. All right, so let's get into the final act here. That's where we're at, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Okay. So I did appreciate the mud. I thought it looked really great. But this was kind of stolen from Martin Sheen coming out of the mud in Apocalypse Now. It's almost a shot for shot frame. I mean, you see Martin Sheen going after Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now. He's covered himself in mud. He slicked his hair back. You just see the white eyes. He comes up out of the fucking swamp and he's ready to go. And I mean, and I'm fine. I loved it then. I loved it here, but it has to be mentioned. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all great. It's just all great. I didn't need Dutch to tell me why the Predator couldn't see him covered in mud. I would have figured it out on my own. I think I would have appreciated it more had I figured it out on my own. But I get it, the people seeing this movie, maybe they needed explain that. Why can't he see him? You can't see me because I'm covered in mud. So I'm fine with that. Pat, what do you got?
I agree with you. When Dutch makes the connection that he can't be seen by the mud, because of the mud, he now is able to concoct a plan because he now knows that there's a weakness.
Wait, let me ask you a question here, though.
Armor.
Let me ask you a question here, though. Do you think that Predator thought that Arnold was dead at this moment? Because he gets all this time to start setting his traps, and you see the Predator just kind of cleaning his skulls, his trophies, and and it's like, I think that he thinks that he's killed Arnold at this time, and he doesn't realize he hasn't until Arnold does
he had gone over another waterfall or something.
Yes, and then Arnold does the scream with the torch, and the thing says, "Oh shit, I didn't fucking kill this guy." So I think,
I think you're right there. That makes a lot of sense because how does he go from hunting Dutch to cleaning Billy's skull and spine as a trophy?
Right.
How do you make that transition? There's got to be a reason for it, and I believe that you nailed it there.
Do you think there's a trophy case on like Planet fucking Grossface, like with skulls in it?
Isn't that in one of the other movies?
What, a trophy case?
Yeah. Like really? I could have sworn it's either in the comic or one of the other Predator movies where like there's like a skeleton from this thing, a thing from that thing. Like they just go around hunting.
It might have been the second one. I don't remember it because if I remember right, in the second one, the Predator ship was underground. How the fuck they managed that is one of the reasons why the movie sucked.
Yeah.
But if there was going to be a trophy case, it would be in the ship that they travel about.
I was joking. I hope that's not a real thing.
I think it is.
Oh, God.
Well,
I think it is.
Think about this. When they're showing the scene with the Predator admiring his trophies, if you notice on the bandolier around his chest, there are animal skulls. So he wasn't just hunting meat; he was hunting everything.
Well, I think that maybe that was food. Maybe these were things he was hunting and eating, or maybe they were from other planets. Things that he's hunted on other planets.
Could have been.
All right, so I just Googled it very quickly. Predator 2, every skull in the trophy room. And there's humans, there's an alien skull, there's a couple of different things.
I love that.
So that it makes sense because, like I said, that movie didn't leave a big impression on me because I wasn't very happy with it. But it makes sense if there was going to be a trophy case, it would be on a ship.
Yeah.
And the only ship that you even come close to seeing the interior of is in the second one.
Yeah. So they're a breed of hunting aliens. It's really cool.
Yes.
Dude, and how about the final scene with Billy Bear? The alien mimicking Billy.
Well, see, that's something that kind of threw me off, and I wasn't really impressed with because the first time you notice the Predator is recognizing the language and adapting to it is when they're attacking the rebel camp.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can see there's like the sound waves on a pattern of some kind. So, in my mind tells me that any sounds he was creating using mimicking somebody else's voice was coming from his helmet. And at the end, when you hear Billy laugh,
it comes from his mouth.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, so how is it? So that's why it's like, I mean, it was great for the scene, no question.
Yeah, and Pat,
But
like you said, it's changed in pitch and it sounds like it's synthesized. And I wish it's odd.
Well, that's what, like I said, it's one of the things you pick up on when you do these review viewings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You pick up on things like that. Wait a minute. Billy's voice, or Mac's voice, I'm sorry, was recorded, analyzed, and reproduced.
Right. Yeah. Well,
and
it's like the eyeballs. You'd see the heat signature from the eyeballs. I mean, the mud wouldn't cover that. It's,
Right, exactly. But
yeah, at least give me Schwarzenegger closing his eyes because he's like, everything is covered in mud, but my eyeballs. Right. Close your eyes.
They're giant.
But again, without these scenes, you don't have the movie. Just like one of the things I didn't really accept was the way Dutch set up his final confrontation with the Predator. I mean, MacGyver is MacGyver, but Dutch out-MacGyvered during this scene.
It's crazy.
And it was very difficult to accept. It was hard enough to accept when they set up the trap earlier in the movie with the net.
And a whole bunch of
these guys are pulling this fucking tree down to use as the trigger. I'm sorry. I mean, for the movie, it's great. You got all this beefcake, and you got to put them to work. So it works for the scene. Same as the confrontation set up with Dutch and the Predator.
Yeah.
The things, I mean, where did he come up with the grenades? He didn't have any goddamn weapons when he went into the waterfall, for Christ's sake. All of a sudden, he's got two grenade launcher rounds that he's able to break open and get the gunpowder.
Dude,
how does the fucking thing explode hitting the tree when there's no trigger?
Dude, when he shoots that arrow with the explosive on it, it looks so bad. It looks like that thing might have traveled like 1.5 feet. It was
let's talk about the arrow. Dutch is finished making his bow, and he tests it, and he puts a wooden arrow through the fucking tree. Come on!
Yeah.
That thing would have shattered into 1,000 pieces when it hit that tree.
But the actual shot of him shooting the explosive arrow at the Predator is like literally the thing like falls out of the bow. It's so bad.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible.
It's so bad.
But again, you take these things with a grain of salt when you're watching the movie because it's that entertaining.
None of it bothers me. None of it.
No, not at all. No. But these are the things you pick up on and you point out when you're doing review watchings.
Yeah. Now, I didn't appreciate, come on, come and get me. I'm right here. I was just like, shut up. Shut up. Just lay there quietly.
The line was horrid. But everything the Predator did, hesitating.
It was great.
And it's looking around. I mean, this isn't just some brutal animal.
Yes.
This thing's got intelligence. And as it's checking out, and you can't see the spikes he created because Dutch camouflaged them with leaves, But from the other side, from Dutch's side, the predator literally had his hand on the leaves and found one of the spikes.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
But what ruins the scene is the horrible dialogue delivered by Schwarzenegger. It's like, let me just appreciate the scene as it unfolds.
well, you've got to have a scene like that with Schwarzenegger. Let's go back to the attack of the rebel camp, and he throws his knife, and the knife impales the guy in the wall, and you get the
stick
iconic,
around.
stick around.
Yeah,
And it's like in these movies with him, these lines have become iconic.
yeah, there was plenty.
Stick around. I'll be back.
All right, so I think we've broken this down. Let's head over to the recasting couch and our alternate endings. And I've got a good one for you, kids. So I would replace the actor who played Billy Bear with one tough Hollywood star by the name of Sean Penn. Pat, who are you going to recast in this movie?
It sure as hell ain't gonna be Sean Penn. No, I'm gonna go with the '80s Rocky IV era Stallone
Nice.
for
I like
Dutch.
it. Sure.
Because when you see Rocky get into the ring with that Russian, I've never seen him look stronger and bigger in any movie.
He was so jacked.
Big time Jack.
Big time.
He would be a good replacement for Dutch.
But he's like 5 feet tall. That's the only problem. They'd have to bring Van Damme back in.
Well, then, that could have worked. But still, doesn't matter how tall he was. Still a beefy bastard.
Stallone versus the Duck. Okay, Dylan, what do you got?
I also recast Billy. I recast it with Brandon Lee when he was very buff.
When he was very buff. Okay.
You're so good. All the things that you do are
time.
so amazing. But
let me
to
tell you
everything.
something.
Your adjectives get shit on.
Brandy Lee is too soft to play that role.
Okay, his name's not Brandy, you fucking fool. His name is Brandon.
Someone named Brandy Lee probably is too soft.
Listen, you need a tough, grizzled Hollywood actor with some
Oh,
edge.
like Sean
Like
Penn.
Sean.
Who literally looks like a fucking wet noodle. Please, with that bullshit.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Next segment.
Next. Yes, thank you, Pat. Next segment is the alternate endings. So I will get us started.
As if we'd end the movie like that. Sure.
Let's do the Scooby-Doo ending.
Good call.
In my alternate ending, just before the nuclear device goes off on the alien's arm, Dutch kills the Predator and stops the countdown at 1. He puts on the Predator's outfit, his helmet, his entire suit, and he waits for the spacecraft to pick him up because the suit is giving off the beacon. He gets aboard this spacecraft. They fly back to the home planet. It's just as they start docking. Dutch hits the button and destroys the planet with a nuclear blast, saving Earth from any more hunts. No claps?
I'm hearing crickets.
Okay, well, that's my fucking ending.
It was cool. It was cool.
Thank you.
It's a cool ending.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's giving me Independence Day, but that's okay. I like it.
That's where I stole it. That's where I stole it from. And
What a
actually,
surprise.
okay, since you said that, then Arnold smokes a cigar just before he pushes the button in the Predator mask.
Well, he's a stogie guy, so that works.
All right, Pat, what's your alternate ending for
Okay,
Predator?
I'm going to take my alternate ending cue from the Alien Predator movie, the first one.
Okay.
I'm going to have Dutch beat the Predator, and before he's picked up, the Predator's colleagues, or clan, if you want to call them,
Yep.
show up, take the body away, and Dutch is the victor.
Oh, that's cool. I like that a lot. So basically, they respect him for
Exactly.
beating
They
the
didn't
Predator.
kill him. He is a warrior, and that's what they are.
Okay, so let me just dress it up just a little bit. They
Okay.
cut the Predator's head off and they give it to Dutch as
No.
they take the body away because
No,
he
I'm
gets
not
to
gonna-
keep the skull as a fucking.
No,
He
it
gets to
doesn't work
keep the
because
skull as a trophy.
it's an honor code thing amongst the warrior class.
Yeah.
The body, you take it back intact or
Okay.
whatever's left, and you bury it with honor.
All right, your ending sucked. Delin, what do you got?
It
I'm
was
joking.
until you didn't like your
I'm
addition.
joking. Your ending was very good. I really like that ending. That would work.
Mine lost a little heat because Pat kind of took it a little bit, but
shit.
mine's a little different.
Okay.
So the guy does the little beep, beep, beep thing, but instead of nuclear warhead, it's calling his clan members, and it basically shows that we weren't dealing with one predator all along. There was like 3 or 4 of them. And as he's standing there over the body, whoop, 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 3 more appear that were in,
Watching.
the camouflage. And he's like, fuck. That's it. That's the end of the movie.
That would have been a very good ending too.
So
thank
it was
you.
a group
Very
of
good,
hunters,
too.
and we just assumed it was one alien. I like that.
Yes.
You know what? I am giving everybody an A+ today. I think everybody brought a really great ending to the movie. I think Pat's ending was the best. If I had to grade him out,
And like I said, I stole it. Alien versus Predator, the first one in the South Pole. Good cast, and the ending was very, very likable.
Yeah,
And that's essentially the way that movie ended. I enjoyed it very much.
I think I like your ending better than the actual ending of the movie. I think I would have got choked up a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's do some final thoughts and we'll score this thing and call it a show. So, again, this thing started off a little shaky for me, but the alien looked amazing. Arnold was so huge and just fucking a formidable opponent. This was the Expendables before the Expendables existed. This thing paved the way for action movies and sci-fi movies that would come after it. Unfortunately, not the 2 from this franchise, but whatever. And this, like I said in the beginning, is probably one of my favorite aliens of all times. He's on par with the fucking alien. So my rewatch score for Predator is 4.67. It's a really strong movie. Pat, what do you got?
I enjoyed this very much. The end of the movie was 2 different movies for me. Up until Dutch was the only survivor, I enjoyed it very much. There was a lot of shooting action. It's the kind of thing that really trips my trigger, no pun intended.
Right.
And once it got to the solo Dutch versus Predator, you got to take a lot you see with a grain of salt with what he's able to do, but it's so well put together. It's believable enough. Seeing the alien without the camouflage definitely would have been a bigger attraction throughout the movie as opposed to the end of it. But I understand the big attraction when this movie started was the camouflage. That was the big grab for the audiences.
Nice. And your score for the Predator.
My score to wrap this up in a hurry is a 4.65.
Ooh, we saw this thing very similar.
So I don't love it quite as much as you guys do, but it's good. You can't take it away from it. It's science fiction royalty when you think about it, right? When it comes to, creatures, and for the abilities that they had for special effects at the time, they really did a great job. They really did. You got to give it to them. So I'm going to give it a 3.822.
You didn't like it as much as me and Pat because boys have a penis and girls have a vagina.
I can't wait to cut that part out.
No, it's from a Schwarzenegger movie. It's from fucking Kindergarten Cop, you dipshit. If you know anything about movies, you know that. Leave it in.
You're a dipshit.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, just leave it in.
I'm thinking Kindergarten Cop is not the first movie people think of when they think of the name Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I think it's a great Schwarzenegger movie.
I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying it's not the first one that comes to mind.
Okay, so the score is 4.38066666667.
Okay.
So that lands it right at number 25. It is right under a tie between Constantine and The Breakfast Club and right above Poltergeist.
Nice.
I can live with that.
It's in good company.
That fits.
Top 25 movie in the list. Okay. So we will be back next week. I am So excited for this, people. Tony has never seen the movie Brain Scan. This is one of my favorite fucking weirdo horror sci-fi. It's so weird. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but I love it. And we're doing it, and he's never done it. So let's get ready for that. And as for fucking Breaking Vinyl, I don't know, man. Just check. If there's an episode, there's an episode. If there's not, there'll be one eventually. So there you go.
They're a bunch of rookies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's it. Until next time, we're doing that with Tony with his degree in terror. So until next time, I just have one question for you. Hey, did you ever see that movie? See you next time.
Let's get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
God, help me.